So just a quick one. Today just popping down the river. Check this river out. I haven't been down it for probably 2 years, I would think. And just going to look for little holes. I've got the lurgy, got the old dreaded throat bug. So see how long I'll last. Probably a couple of hours to do it. Got to be better than staying at home, and it's not going to go. If you're out in the fresh air walking around, you might stumble into a fish. Only going to be small fish, is all it's going to be. But it's just nice to get out small rivers and just see what's about. Lots and lots of rubbish. I'm just going to do pocket dropping over there. I figure I'm going to lose gear because obviously all unkempt is all not looked after. Maybe back there might be a bit to try. I've got worms. Dug some more worms yesterday. Yeah, got a few worms there. And I do quite well with earthworms, folks, I have to say. Just regular ones like this. More so than the tackle shop ones sometimes. I think it's the taste and the earthy taste. I do wonder sometimes if the peat and stuff they keep them in actually takes some of the smell of the worm away. I don't know. All got theories, haven't we? Got one of these pouches on. Not selling them, it's years old. Wife got it in the charity shop, so I said, oh, that'll work well. I just keep forceps, everything in there, a few hooks, 2 floats, spares, just the very, very basics. And travelling light, camera bag, cough mixture, paracetamols. No, I didn't bother with that today. Right, let's get back in the water, guys. If you had to tie me down, I'd say a little worm like that's as good as any. I've just got a really 40-year-old ancient stick float. Don't even know, I can't even read that. Somebody else might read it if I've got it upside down or whatever. Seems to take about 3 BB. £5 straight through, size 14 hook, I think. Let me just see if we catch something. If you had to tie me down to species, I'd say perch, possibly. Small chub. Might get a dace. Might get gudgeon. I'm down there with the float. I might want to go a bit deeper. I like to go deep enough just to trip the bottom. And what you got to watch are the trees up there that will snag your line when you lift up. Anywhere there's a slight slack in the current is a place worth looking. It's a nice little pace through there. It might actually be deeper than you think. Or might also be a branch. Oh, I got it back, that was lucky. You don't want to neglect places where it just slows up. Even for this tree, there could be one perch spot just down here close up. So it doesn't always have to be on the far bank. You tend to think, you know, if the public come around here, and they do with dogs and stuff, dogs jumping in the water, they push the fish over the far side. But very often there's a deeper pool closer in. That's where the fish might be. Kind of surprised, no bites. And of course what happens is all this has been in the water, some of the branches will have washed downstream. So you tend to get closer and closer to the snags looking for a bite and invariably pay the price. Not too bad for leaves coming down, considering it is autumn and you can see the leaves are all turning. They tell me the leaves are really late this year, coming down 2 weeks too late. Right, too late, just 2 weeks late. And that's due to the lack of sunlight, I don't know, making chlorophyll or something like that, and the sugars for the plants and trees to take in. So they are turning 2 weeks late. That's what I heard on the TV. Could be fake news, of course, you never know, but a lot of it, as you can see, is just starting to turn. And now I've had one tiny bite on my 3rd swim now. Pulled the worm off, or part of the worm off. I'm guessing small perch. It's a nice bit of slow over there, so main current's coming down the inside here. A bit slow over there. We've got to watch the trees for snagging. Let's get this one out there. Yeah, it's not bad for leaves coming down at all. It's getting the balance right. You want enough current just to move the float slowly. Not too fast, not too slow, but obviously when it's just going through at a nice pace, It's difficult to sort of tell people what a nice place is. You need to do more float fishing so that you can that looked like a bite. Yeah, so you get the float going through either too fast, too slow. It's difficult, you know. Once you've had a few bites, you'll get used to it. And the different paces. I mean, the river you think is just going down here and that's it. I had a bite then. Could be the bottom, because as you get to the bottom of the pool, it shallows up invariably. Weed grows there, and then you start snagging. It gives you a false bite. That's what I've got now, I think. Yeah, I'm in the weed. Or a twig or something. I have to watch that. Always check your bait. Yeah, see, it's pulled half the worm down. Lost a bit of the worm, so rehook that. Send it out again. I'm fancying over there with that slack, but I don't, about there, I don't really want to get snagged on the bottom. It is known, as always has been, it's very, very snaggy. It's sort of never cleared out at all, it seems. There's a bite. That was a small bite. Could be minnows, could be. See people, there's a perch lure hanging from that tree over there, because all trying to get in that back piece over there for looking for a big perch. And there used to be big perch, and I've no idea what's in there now. Shame, but somebody should go down on the little boat or ways and put all those lures out. Guys, I've come at a jungle fishing hole, and I've just gone down, literally lowering the rod, and I thought it was a decent perch, and it might be a blank saver. Oh, it's a chub. You can tell I was not ready for it because I haven't even extended my net. See if we can get him a salvage something out of a short trip. Got him. Well, that was something of a bonus. I'd say that was totally unexpected. Quite a nice chub actually, look at that. Way bigger than my hand. He sucked that back. And always bigger than schools. Look at that. That's a nice chub. Well pleased. I literally swing it out and sort of lower it, as it were. Well, that's a bonus, big time bonus. I didn't expect that, I must admit. I expected a fish, if anything, a perch there. One of the beauties of fishing little streams like this, that obviously a lot of places are impossible to fish, is it's a challenge, and you don't know what's in there, do you? Like, I don't really know what's under here. I just got to try and save my tackle, as it were. And that's why I had the fish just down about swinging around there now. Unlikely to get another one, because obviously I've caught that fish, disturbed anything. And obviously I threw the chub back in here, so that would have spooked the others, but you never know. If anything, I would have said here, perch. Let's see if I can get an angle, just swing that. As a very slight eddy there by the leaves. Sorry about the throat, but it is what it is. Here's a very slight eddy. You can see by the line of leaves going down there, and then these are statics, so more likely to get a perch in there, I feel. Just noticing where that current change was, and I've indeed got a little small, what I call schoolboy's perch. But you can see what I mean by looking at the river, trying to study the pace of the leaves. I feel, and I changed the depth as well. I might try another one in there. I should think it's very, very unlikely anybody's even fished in this. It's not next to impossible to fish. I'm sure to go and lose my gear in a minute. I'm not putting polarising glasses on because there's nothing really to see, and I think it'd be even darker, and I'd you know, probably not see some branches and cast in them instead. That's a float I'm using, just a stick float. I normally use a small bodied Avon here. Well, not here, just river, small streams. I did see a decent pike, about £5. I spooked in the margins further up. So maybe it's a return. Oh, I think I have done a naughty there. I think I nearly lost it. I'm gonna have to let that one run now. barely see the float. Well, I've got another perch I just lost. Barbless hooks. As soon as I switch the camera on, I get a bite, and then you pause with the camera, and that's when he comes off. We'll try again though. Well, I've snapped my float. I had to re-rig again, and I've got a little small perch here, and I've lost another one. But for some reason, this float's taking, well, more shot for some reason. I'm going to take one off, and maybe there's BBs, and maybe put let's try it with 2 BBs. It is very slow there. I might have to put a number 4 shot on as a sort of, just to settle the float. No, that looks okay. If I get a faster stretch, of course it's not going to be quite so near the bottom. The perch, just the small perch, is just down on the inside, almost as that back eddy where I saw it from the other side where it turns. I'm so getting snagged on brambles, etc. I think I'm going to have to move from this swim, so I'm definitely going to lose it, and then I've only got 1 float left. I'm on. Oh, and off. You see what I mean? I can't really pull too hard because I've got all this undergrowth around me and there's trailing brambles which I've been snagged in a couple of times, and that is a one-way ticket, so I've got to basically hold the rod out like a complete noddy. There's a bite, and there's a fish, and he's off again. I can't seem to pull tight on them. Oh, let's have, oh, he's off again. 3 in a row, and I'm up the tree. Oh, happy days. Now I've absolutely got to get this back. So what I do is I open the bay line. This is a tip, guys. Open the bay line, don't snatch it all tight. It's loose. I'm going to hook a rod ring around that line. Then you draw it in, a battery died, and you get hold of the float, and you can generally tug it. And if you've got to cut it above the float, and then pull the loose line back through the rod rings, you know, literally through, and then rig up again. It's the only way to do it. That's a really nice little £1/2 perch I had, but I just can't. I've got to lower this down there. Look, I'm pretty sure I'm going to get another take there, but that was a nice perch. A shame. Schoolboy fishing, eh? Brings back memories, just messing around. Small streams, wondering what's in there. You see I'm just bumping the float occasionally, then just let the worm sit, and of course that current does change. Sometimes there's a little bit of flow, sometimes there's a slack. Oh yes. I've got to keep him swinging, guys. That's better, that is better. There we go. Good little, what I call palm-sized perch. Ideal for a little schoolboy like me fishing as I was about 8 years old. Never as a man valued 1 float as much as I am this one in this snag. Another one. Okay, I'm backing up, shortening the rod up, then I can get to the fish. Well, we're on fire now. And this is a half section of worm there. Just make sure that hook point is clear. So it's not even a cast, people, is it? It's not even a cast. Actually, I haven't tried round the right there. Well, all like peas in a pod at the moment, quite small ones. Oh, look, put it straight up the tree. One thing I will say with worm fishing like this, it's difficult not to strike fast. If the float goes under fast, you tend to strike fast. I still do it 60 years up the road, and then it goes flying up in the tree. just with a worm, pause a second, let them hold it down at just a millisecond and just lift into it. Especially with perch, they got a relatively big mouth for the size of the fish, and they're greedy as well. And the bites are slowed up a bit. Probably gonna have a move around the bend there, see what's round there. There's a nice big wide bend, sweeping bend, weed on the back. So there never was that amount of weed there years ago. And I did see a couple of little fish rise, I don't know what they were. So I'm just having a throw out there. I personally have never done much good here, but it's a sort of classic spot. This is why it's all worn down. More daisy roachy type of small chub, that type of pace here. Only got like almost a piece of worm on there at the moment. I'm sort of fan casting further and further out just to see if I can get a bite, which I had them, which is probably minnows. Tell a lie, it's another perch. No minnows. If you always keep your disc in one of these little pouches, you'll find it's very easy. Just go down the line, pop the hook out, job done. Nice big wide bend here, you can see comes down the river. All looks good, but those fish probably they're still going to be in sort of pockets. I mean, circulation around here should say perch, a little bit of slack water here should say perch, should say small chub and stuff out in the middle. At the moment the bites have slowed up quite a bit. But I think that's because I'm out in an open area where, you know, loads of other people fish. Because if I get in the real nooks and crannies where they have to slide the rod through the jungle fishing, we call it, those fish haven't been hassled. Yeah, nice sort of perchy run all across the back there. Trees in, snags, plenty of snags. Perch going to be in there, the snags, but there might be a gap there. But I think I've got to run the risk and see if I can't pick an extra fish or two up. I've got to say it looks very nice. Well, I've run the float for about 10-12 times, absolutely nothing. It's amazing, isn't it? It's a swim that looks so fishy, it's ridiculous. Roach down the bottom end. Obviously I'm on worm, so the roach should be a big roach to take a big worm. There's a bite, and I missed it. You almost write your own ticket for perch over there, just the back of that snag. But of course it could be hammered beyond belief here. You know, with lures as well. A couple more swims up there I shall try. I've had a few and then I'll go back to that jungle swim I fished. You could ledger, but I don't know the holding areas of this fish. I don't Wouldn't really want to be sat in one spot. I like to have a float and just move all the time. Stumble into a few fish. Oh, another deep, dark, forbidding type of pool. That's what I just tried down here. Nothing specific. I have roach fished up here before many years ago, running a float down there, but there was none of this junk in the water like this. It was, I won't say maintained, but there's a lot more fishing area. Oh, I'm on. And there you go. Just as I said it, right under that tree. So we'll try that one again, I think. Yeah, it did. Do you know what? I was moving the worm and they attacked it then. And I have done actually a film, I think it might have been on this river, twitching a lobworm across the bottom like you would do drop shotting. Well. Is there going to be a bigger one down there? Right under where the tree comes out. Of course it could be snaggy, and that's why they're in there. Wow, there's a pickup in current there. Can't even see the float. I'm on. Goodness me, I didn't even see the float then. What I was going to say is, when there's not many leaves coming down, I tend to want the bait tripping the bottom. But when the leaves, say about 3 weeks after they soaked and they're laying on the bottom, before you get a flood to scour them out, I find if I shut up a little bit so I'm coming across the top rather than snagging into the leaves. Otherwise your bait is continually snagging and getting hidden in the leaves. As if there's a lot of leaves on the bottom, then what I'm saying is try shallowing up just about 3 or 4 inches above the depth you might normally fish at. On again. Well, that's perch corner. I'm amazed a pike hasn't grabbed. No, I did see a pike, about 5 pounds. In fact, that's why I didn't see the float, is because it's been pulled under. Oh, different species. It tells me I'm on the bottom, gudgeon. I get too many of these nowadays. And these were kids in the winter catch loads of those and perch, obviously. There's another bait. It's not half a pound, it's either a chub or a perch. Really slow bite. Oh, let's get this. Could be the trip. Look at this perch. About a pound or so. Come on, babe. He's in. And up the tree. Look at this. Look at it. Love it. It doesn't matter. Main thing is I've got the fish. Yes, please. Well. I did lose a decent fish earlier on. There we go. Not bad for a small stream, is it? You can see why he scoffed that worm. I put a bit bigger worm on it. It's like half a lobworm. And there you go. There's his fin. You've got to get some of these guys at this time of year. Goodness me. Well pleased with that. That's weird because I lost a fish and I put it down as being a chub, but because you put a bigger bait on, I actually followed my own advice and actually paused and just, you can almost feel it under the water. The float went under and I could feel that tug where he's trying to chew the bait. So that was a result, major result. Right, people, I've gone cast out again to the back there. I've hooked a perch, I think. I'm fairly sure a small pike's come out and grabbed the perch. Now the only way I've got to catch this on a 5 pound line and a tiny 14 hook is that the pike actually sort of gags on the perch. I think, I may be wrong, look, I could be totally wrong, but as I struck, flash, and then I just saw another flash that was definitely a bit bigger than a perch. Unless one perch is eating the other, which does happen. So I'm just letting this sit there for a minute, and if I've missed it and I'm wrong, the little perch will still be out there. If not, he's been eaten. Now I can see my float sunken under the water. Well, why is it doing that? There is it. It's going like this. This is just a little fish. I can't see. I'm following the float down. You guys won't see it. It's down there. That is right peculiar. No, he's dropped it. Whatever it was, he's dropped it. I definitely saw something else having to go at this little perch. This guy's got absolutely no marks on him at all. I just realised another float up the tree over there. And I've got, oh, I can swing him out, and then he's coming back. There we go, on the worm. A nice roach. Gave me a thumping great big fire. I was surprised. You normally expect to get those on maggots. It's crazy, this fishing game. You never know what's out there. Well, something different. Is this a roach? It's another roach right down the back there on a tiny piece of worm. Here we go. Good little session. Well worth coming down the river for. I'm going to give it another 5 or 10 minutes. I'm at the top of the fishery now, and do you know what, I'm going to leave that tiny segment of worm on there, because if there's one roach or a shoalfish, a good chance there could be another one, or a great big fat gudgeon down the inside there. I still would like another BB on that float. As soon as the pace picks up on a stick float there, I could do it like a bodied Avon 3 BB. Well, just moving up to what I consider to be the last swim. One over there, one here, and one sort of there. That's very chubby, doesn't it? You can actually see the bottom there without polarising glasses. Let's just have a walk along here. I don't think I can get to it from there. It does look chubby, that one. I have to look at it from the other angle, I think. Walk round. I think I've got to run the float past that piece of rubbish, haven't I? Because all the books say do that. It's too shallow in here. Behind the tree, I might be able to get it from here. You can see these are days old, these worms. I topped them up yesterday with a bit of digging. And if you keep them in the fridge and don't put too much soil in there, like the damp moss is better, they should keep pretty well. Until the wife discovers you've got them in the fridge next to her lettuce or something, and then you get them turfed out. We're getting down to the last swim wonder, last cast, where I have plenty of those. It's all changed since I fished here a few years ago. You know, I haven't got the body of float to cast right up against those dead leaves that have racked up there. If you get a leaf on the line and you get a bow in it, when you try to mend it, it pulls the float off of the line that you want it to go. So I'm just going to have to risk it now. Oh, this is looking a bit sketchy for going in. Or what you do, if you get belly of line to the left, you just got to let it all run down loose and then strike through the belly of the line and hope you connect to the fish. Use the friction of the water to strike through that belly of the line, if that makes sense. And it appears nobody's at home. I think I've got to have one more cast there. Well, it's game over, guys. I went to cast round here, forgot there's a tree the other side. I snapped my second float, so do you know what? I've had a good little session. I'm going to call it quits. Hope you've enjoyed this one, and get out there if the conditions are right, not flooded like this. You know, it all looks very, very fishy. And all I had was the worms there. I just dug some worms, came fishing for a couple of 3 hours, and caught quite a few fish. Right, let's get back and see what else we can find you people to keep you all entertained. All looks good in here, nothing on the rat trap. Fairly sort of tidy. It's a potting shed that I used to pot things in and seeds and don't bother anymore. I'm going to try it again this year. I've got some bulbs, gladiolite bulbs, and that drying. I've no idea whether they're just dry there. Hopefully keep them cool and just work away as we do through the winter. Try to amuse myself. So it's sort of an autumnal walk around to see what's happening, because it is a time of change. Hopefully as I put this up, might get it up as a midweek one Wednesday. We're a few days away from putting the clocks back. And then of course your fishing gets dark an hour earlier. Or somebody said on our Facebook page, oh, it doesn't get dark an hour earlier, it's just the clocks that move. Yeah, I sort of know where you're coming from, but if it's dark at 6 o'clock and then it's dark at 5 o'clock, I feel it's got dark an hour earlier. And then it come back on again. Yeah, but it's lighter for an hour earlier in the morning. Oh, okay. Some of these you can't win, can you guys? It's like having a row with a wife. Yeah, you're not going to win. You're not going to win. Well, I want to have a wander around the garden because there's some things I'm noticing this year. I just saw literally on the news, oh, we're going to a catastrophic 3.1 increase in global warming. Well, just enjoy, because we're not going to stop it, are we? We're not going to stop it. If it's not there, whether you all believe or not, neither here nor there. But I know temperature does make a difference. Even looking at the plants, some peculiars going on that in my generation, my age 70 plus, even I've seen the change of things. Let's have a walk around the garden. So I've made the effort to dig up all the gladioli bulbs and plant them at the back. I made a mistake of planting them at the front of the trough there. And look at these marigolds. I'll tell you a story about these in a minute. They are basically ones that have died off. I put them in the greenhouse 2 weeks ago and look what's happened to the blooms. It's absolutely ridiculous, because I always thought the blooms died off when it was a low light level. But I think now it's just temperature. Now look, that's the same plants in a trough, and you can snap the heads off, which is dead head. They've all run to seed, okay? So that trough I showed you earlier of magnolias or whatever they call them now, they've gone like that. And yet I've just put them in the greenhouse and away they go. Now somebody tell me, hot lips salvia, a bush that is going all over the place. The bumblebees, the bees, they all love it. Insects love it. It's a very popular bush with the gardeners, but I don't know how to cut it down. How much should I cut it back? Because one of you guys a couple of years ago, I think, said don't cut them back. But this one's got buds. Look, it's November. It's coming up. I'm about a day or two out of November, and there's the roses did no good on this side, and yet here we go, looking at November. What's this? Absolute cluster of buds. Must be because it's a different type of species. Don't tell me about leaf raking. I like trees, that's why I don't like cutting them down, because I like trees. The downside of trees is leaves, and here we have a lot of trees and we get a lot of leaves. Around about 50, every time we have a rake, 50 heaps like this, which we measure probably by the ton, literally by the ton, especially if they get rained on, because I cannot mow the lawn with all those leaves there. Even if I put it on mulch, the mower on mulch to chop them up, it's too thick. And there is the culprit, ash. Now the saying is, if the leaves fall, ash before oak, we're in for a soak. And the ash has fallen off, and to the left there is the oak. But what I'm concerned about, I can't find any acorns this year. Why have the trees got no acorns? Is there something disastrous going to happen with the world that we haven't seen yet? Am I the first to see this? And down the end here, we had this cut down. You guys haven't seen the film yet. It died, and it was, some of you people told me that's called honey fungus, Graeme. It's a sign of a dead tree. Get it cut down, it's dangerous. Obviously we did, say a year ago, but the honey fungus has come back. It doesn't really matter, because the tree is more than, it's cut, it's down, it's dead. We knew that. But some black flies lay their eggs in here, and if I let that run on that, it just goes to maggots. So I don't know why this fly lays its eggs in there, because maybe the maggot must actually feed on that fungus. But tell me, am I right? Is this the same honey fungus that that is the death knell for so many trees. In other words, if you have a tree and that's growing there, get it cut down, because it's going to come down anyway. It will be dead. This grew in literally 48 hours. The wife went away, I looked out from the kitchen window and I couldn't believe it. And it's even grown out into the gravel there, I'm guessing on a root that might be running out, and into the lawn there. So tell me, is that the honey, the dreaded honey fungus, the portender of doom for trees? There is the back pond. You guys might remember, it was lined, it was leaking. I couldn't be bothered doing anything with it, so I planted my plants in boxes in there. They're doing really well, and I use it to pile all my leaves in. And what's this? Look at these plants. It's November. I don't get it. That is my water table there. You cannot believe it. How far the water is. See it there? Now, if I go to tread in that, I would disappear down about 3 feet. So I filled it up with grass cuttings. Now, there's the water table. It's not just a block ditch. That is the water sitting there. So I don't know what's going on. It is not draining away this year. However, the spiky plants there appear to love it, and I've got them in boxes so that they will float up and down as that pond goes up and down, and perhaps make something like a very rare Hampshire sunken garden, because when it dries out in the summer they're going to sink down. When it fills up in the winter they should rise. The pampas grasses are doing particularly well this year. Is that a sign of a bad winter to come? Does anybody know about those? And the trees, there's an oak tree above me there that everybody said, cut it down. I haven't. I've had it 18 years, it's still going, but it is on the way out, I feel. Very, very old, ancient one. Does it get something called split oak disease or something, or split bark? Look, there's a giant bough's come down there. Really, really big one. Glad I wasn't underneath that doing any garden work when it came down. I haven't gone up it. I've been up it with a double ladder thinking of making a tree house up there. And look at the tiny little mushroom thing there, look, like a fungi growing. See it by my thumb. Quite a delicate little instrument, and that's another sign, obviously, dead and rotting things. So it's one more for the great big November the 5th bonfire. I got rid of some hawthorn bushes, which are a nightmare. Cut them off, drilled some holes, filled some stump killer in there, and that seems to have got those. But you can see there, my water table, the water is not draining away this year. Everywhere is claggy. I don't sort of understand. It's the underground aquifers that are full. That was a success, what we call the D, with the pond right next to it. The pond is way up, obviously, but a lot of that is the water table being below the liner, is pushing the liner up. So in fact, the liner is floating with water in it. Does that make sense? So it's probably deeper than it looks. And now I'll go show you again. Here's a couple of plants that died back. I put all my wood in there to dry, and way slings and way mats and God knows where else, nappy mats. There, now that one had died right back. I put it in the greenhouse in 2 weeks. Just look at the number of buds it's thrown up. So where I thought it was the actual light that was, making them dry off, it's not. It appears it's actually air temperature. So if you put the temperature up, it brings all these plants right back. Trying to save some seeds here because it's that time of year. There's some sweet peas. But look, how come they're still flowering in November? I don't get that. This is what I call a zebra grass. Does anybody know what that grass really is named as? Quite prolific now. All came from about 5 or 6 small ones. I've got to get it all tied up, staked and tied up, because it just splays all over the place. But it's a good sort of space filler, and quite delicate. Not flowers, I don't know what they are. Tendrils on the end there. These are major success. These were grown from seed last year. I think they were wildflower. Now, can anybody get one of those apps, freeze that, and tell me what it is? There, maybe you can get an app off it or something to do these identifications. That I had one from last year. I grew as a seed, kept it overwintered, and threw up some really good flowers, those purple flowers. But I noticed it did sort of die off earlier. With these ones, look, November, I'm still getting flowers off them. I'll show you another one around here. Are they what they call a biennial? Biennial, it lasts 2 years and then it dies off. because I've planted some others as plants like this and hope they come up for a second year. Over here, something strange. See that can on the floor? This was a pallet-shaped boat that I made for a shelf for Mike at one of his houses. It keeps getting kicked out. I put it back in, and what the hell is keep getting in there and pushing it right out? So I'm staking out a garden fork onto which I'm going to clamp one of our trail cams, because this happens virtually every day and I don't know what it is. I don't think it's a mouse or anything like that. I have had one go at it and couldn't see it because it missed it up just as it was kicking out something. It's quite big, but I did see a big rat in there, so I have placed 2 or 3 traps there. But we're going to see if we can find anything on the trail cam. Now here we are in the old tackle shack. Not been in here for a while. Gonna have to come back in here and do some other tackle talks or whatever and get this boiler going again. Besides that one, that'll make a nice float, or indeed a quill for signing and writing letters to other fishermen. Please, can you tell me where I get a golden ticket for giant fish? So there you go, that's some of the garden stuff. I find it bizarre, you know, maybe I'll knock all that fungus off. I'm sure it's honey fungus. You guys that follow it, I'm pretty sure I didn't keep the picture of it, but I'm pretty sure that's what it is. So, there you go, let's move on with other things. Onwards and upwards. This needs a clean out. I like it in the winter when I like that fire, it's really good in here. And then we'll have you ladies and gentlemen back in as special guests with the spiders. I'm lucky to have so many places I can disappear and amuse myself with fishing stuff. You can see it's cobwebs up, and here got rid of a load of the weeds. It's getting a little bit much now, the garden. The weeds, look at the trees that have broken down branches. I've got that clear. I don't know what I'm going to do down the end there. Well, there's some interesting stuff to think about in the garden. Of course, now it's winter, there's even more leaves to come down, so there's plenty to think about and there's plenty to do. Okay, so moving along, I went to a classic car show in Surrey. I thought I've got to go to see what's there. Really nice, unbelievably polished stuff, but I also found some vintage tractors. Check these out. When looking around the agricultural machinery shed, I came across some old ones, really old tractors these ones, but you know, been renovated, and then I met a young man with this tractor and he's going to give us a bit of a talk about it.
It's a 1950 TED20.
1 year older than me.
Yeah.
Is he still going?
Yeah.
Just like me then. Don't knock age, yeah.
Drove here 3 miles. But it's had all the new track rod ends and bits on it. Did them all yesterday.
What's the history of it? What do you know?
So it was made in 1950 in Coventry.
Yeah.
In Banner Lane. I think the factory was the Standard Motor Company factory for they made Bristol Hercules engines in there, I think, for aircraft. Then it was sold to somebody down in Somerset, and I can't really find the history of that. I'm trying to get in contact with the Somerset County Records to find out more. And then I think it was 1962, it came back up to Andover.
Oh yeah.
To Wallace and Stevens in Basingstoke, I think.
Yes.
Where it was then sold on to a farm in Church Crookham.
So working, or it's where I used to live that way, Fleet. So you used to work up that. You used to work there, yeah.
E.F. White and Sons, I think,
was
the farm. And then I bought it in June last year, 2023.
Big project?
No, it's pretty much as it was.
Pretty basic, aren't they? You know.
It's meant to be 2 spanners can fix everything. I think it's a bit more than that, but
yeah, that's right.
And it's pretty much as it was. I've changed obviously those. It's had new front tyres. That's pretty much it really.
And then just run through some bits and pieces so people know. So this is a 4-cylinder.
Yeah, 2 litre 4-cylinder engine.
Yeah.
So you're meant
They're
to...
all diesel, or do they make petrol tractors?
Yeah, so up until 1951, they were all petrol.
Really?
And then they started making a diesel.
And this one's a diesel, yeah?
This is petrol.
This is a petrol one, yeah?
So you start it on petrol in the little tank.
Oh, I wonder why the two. I wonder what the two. Just
Yeah.
my next question was why two fillers.
And then when it's hot, you change it over to tractor vaporizing oil, which is TVO, which is paraffin mix.
Oh, so it's not straight petrol then?
No, but I just run it off petrol because it's cheaper.
Oh, you can run it. You can run it
Yeah.
on petrol.
I just
yeah.
put petrol in that tank and do that, and it's just as easy.
So I'm going down there. I'm just getting distributor,
Yeah.
HT coil,
Yes.
alternator or dynamo. What are they called?
That is the starter motor.
Oh, there's a starter isn't it, to go in the crankshafts in
Yeah.
there, yeah.
And the flywheel and all that.
And this cylinder is
It's
oil
an
filter.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm nearly there. I could buy one of these.
It's a 6-volt. So most of the electrics are 6-volt, but it's running off a 12-volt battery. But that, just the starter motor spins a bit faster, and that's about it really. That's your dynamo.
Yeah, oh, that's what I was thinking of. Yeah.
Carburettor.
Have you had much trouble tweaking those at all, to get them running?
I took it off and cleaned it a couple of weeks ago.
No, you did tell me.
And what would this
That's
be?
your air filter, and you've got an oil bath down the bottom there. Pretty simple really.
So the rest is like basics, isn't it? It's just gears and brakes, yeah.
And I think these are different because if you look there, you've got your starter gear. So you put it in there to start it.
And what does that do as regard the internals?
So the gear stick goes down there, and you've got a little solenoid in there, a little pin that pushes forward, and it touches those two wires together in there.
Yeah.
Which then that starts turning the starter motor.
I got it, yeah.
And then you've got your handbrake here as well. You just push that little pin in as your handbrake.
Yeah, it is a handbrake, can't it? What would these be used for?
So that's your independent brakes. So when you're ploughing, one of these things is a big feature of these is you can turn them pretty much on a sixpence. So
yes.
When you're ploughing, you just jump on that. That locks this wheel up.
Yeah.
And then you spin your tractor.
So they're sort of, what am I calling it, independent differential or something in there that makes one wheel go one way and one sort of not go the other, but
Well, you've got a brake on each
so
wheel.
you individually brake it, yeah.
And then these were quite revolutionary because they were pretty much the first tractor to have 3-point linkage on the back. So before, the old Fords and Fordsons had a drawbar that came out here.
Yeah.
But these you can lift the 3-point linkage up when you're ploughing, so you can turn, and it's a lot easier. So these were the first to do that.
I see all this shape when I was doing the Somerset ploughing competitions, and there was so many down there. They've got the great big, huge things, half the size of a house, but loads of these, and still running, still ploughing, still working.
Yeah,
and probably of the same era. Probably.
I want to get a little single furrow plough for this. I think it'd be quite fun, but yeah, it's.
So you're in, I see the college, what's your...
Yeah, I want to go on to Agriculture University.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm at college now doing DT and business and history.
Interesting. And that's
somebody else's, but
that's somebody else's,
it's a diesel. I'd say 70s maybe.
And what's that one down there?
That lifts and raises your link arms.
Oh, I see, yes, yeah, linkage there. So this was just a classic car show that I popped over to. Have a look, Triumph Spitfire Mark III. Does anybody know about these? Have some of you guys out there had any experience of driving these? Are they fast? They look absolutely tiny now. Very, very small cars. But they were popular at their time. A two-seater sports car. How fast would that go? Next to it, what's that? A for Austin, I'm guessing? Looks like an Austin. But these were classic collectors' ones that have been sort of totally renovated by their enthusiasts, and they get them up really well. It's a classic car, that one, because it's got the 4 seats for the family. It's what I would call boxy shape, isn't it? And you can get suitcases in the boxy sort of trunk there, can't you, in the boot. All leather interior by the look of it, so a sort of classic car of the time. I'm going to call it 1950s. Here looks like another Triumph. Tank in the middle, look at the old area, we don't have those anymore, do we? Again, a 2-seater Wood Sports steering wheel there. vivid yellow, nearly as yellow as my boat high sea drifter. And all the badges there you could want for collectors. Some of these badges are very, very collectible. Don't even know what that one is. Talbot, did it say? There's a weird one. Look, what is that? Is that a military vehicle? A Haflinger. What is a Haflinger? Does anybody know? Can somebody let me know what a Haflinger is? Is it just an agricultural vehicle? Or is it indeed a military, or used in some way for military? Could be used on something like, I don't know, I want to think an airfield, but it must have a reasonable engine because it's got a tow ball on the back for tow hitching. Roll down sides, it's got that sort of look about it. And there's a classic, I call it a black and green, classic colours that, like a racing green do they call it, and black. Really, really good finish on the spray. Inside's all leather, you can see. Steering wheel, everything's in superb condition. Wire wheels there. Can you imagine trying to paint those? Even with a spray gun. I just thought I'd put these up because it's just something a bit different. And there's so many together. It's not often you see all these in one spot. I take my hat off to the guys that renovate them, and they must have been polishing them. Look at the finish on it, immaculate. They're vintage ones, collector's pieces these. Slightly lighter green, I have to say out of the two are like the dark green, that's I think they call it a racing green, I'm not sure, somebody tell me. The one on the left is a racing green, that one's a lighter colour green. So much polish on them, look at the water droplets. Unbelievable, isn't it? Somebody's put a lot of time on there. Looks like 3 indicators there. Wire wheels. Do they call it a roadster? Is that what they call a roadster? Or sportster or something like that? It's quite sporty for its era, I have to say. Nice canvas top. I guess that's like a brand new canvas top there. Hinges on the front of the door. Some of the old sport vehicles you have on the back of the door. This one is more of a classic family car there of its time. I'm going to call that 1950s. 50s to 60s, would you say? Somebody out there must be a collector out there somewhere. Have any of you guys had these? Have any of you guys ever had these, you know, as a family car, as your first car? I personally had one called an Austin Cambridge, which I was allowed to have on and off depending how naughty I was at the age of 18, 19. It was the first car, and I think that was the first car obviously I had a crash in. It wasn't my fault, but that's the way it goes, and then when you're 18 or 19, a loose cannon. I can remember the keys were always taken away from me if I was causing any grief. You'll run of your car at the weekend, that sort of thing. There's the old Morris, much loved, I would say, that model. It's a van one. As you can see, it's the old sort of delivery style van, which is bread, all that, you know, general groceries. Needs a bit of TLC there by the look of it, but it looks all original to me. And the inside. And there are the others looking like, wow, that is some yellow, isn't it? That's a kick in the face yellow, that one. And the old-fashioned term was a jelly mould. Can anybody remember them being called a jelly mould? Again, really good finish on them. That's a little convertible one, you see, with the, like, you know, the canvas top on it. Looks like the original leather in there, I'm guessing. And fun to drive. I mean, that's what it was about. You know, now it's a slower speed, the engines were smaller, everything was a lot slower. And here's an exploded diagram of your wheel, you know, with all the gubbins that go with it that actually works, knuckle joints and stuff like that. Brakes. It's the finish on them that I like, you know, the actual finish on the paintwork. They seem immaculate. It just seems a thicker paint than they use nowadays. I don't know. Do you guys think that? Do you think? Or have these just been super maintained to get that type of depth of colour and sheen to them with a polish? Do you think? Does your car look like that? Mine certainly doesn't. But then I'm not polishing it that much. Oh, and this looks like it's put up by the local government, doesn't it? Keep smiling and carry on. Oh yeah, after the budget. Trying to beat the rain, and I'm not one. It's just coming really, really quickly. So we're just going to have a walk around. I'll be okay. It's going to be noisy because I've got the umbrella up. I'm giving a bit of a horror story today of the weather. I'll try and get you through it anyway. It's given pretty much rain every hour of the day today. A Thames 700 weight. I can remember 100 weight, 112 pounds was it, people tell me? 112 pounds, 100 weight. A weight that I could lift off my era as a younger man. Not now. That's a colourful one, look. Volvo, an old Volvo. Again, it's got the double mirrors there. If I show you the two double mirrors, I don't know why it would have two mirrors like that. Nice colour. This one's like an old Austin 7, I think it is. That's what my mum used to have when she first was driving. Her first car might not be a 7. Everybody's hiding in their cars. I don't blame them, it's horrible. There's a Ford Escort. If anybody here, they could tell us all about the engine fitted in there. But no one's here in this weather, and you can't sort of blame them. So I think it's an old, is this a Citroen, French one? I just remember seeing these in some of the old James Bond chase type movies. Unusual lines on the back. Look how low it is on the back. A shame when other people have got all their cars clean like this, and then they get this awful weather forecast. It's an Alfa Romeo. I wouldn't know it if it didn't have the badge on the front, I have to say. Ah, rain stopped.
That is and then there's plenty of room down the centre for people to leave if they have to leave early.
Maybe the guy who did it didn't know a lot about it.
Also looking around the yard, I got a chance to have a look around here, and a nice little courtyard this is here. Just looking around it with some old buildings. I guess that would have been a stable area on the right. And in here, look at the machinery there, all the wood machinery there. God knows how it all works, looks like a water wheel. And this gentleman was making something different. I thought I'd better check this out. See what he's up to. Apples, and I think crab apples there. What is it exactly that we're doing? Can you tell us what we're...
What am I doing?
What are you making?
I'm pulping apples to squeeze the juice to make cider.
And the small red ones?
Crab apples.
And you can, I didn't think you could eat those, but you can eat them, yeah?
Depends on your variety. You can certainly use them all in cider.
Oh, really?
These are quite sweet, these ones.
Oh, see, then you put them in the press, yeah?
No, I put them in like a muslin bag, a mesh bag, and then when I've got enough, I'll put it in the press.
I see.
So, it's several loads.
And would this be salted water in there to kill bugs, or it's just water?
That one's got sodium metabisulfate in it to kill the bugs. And this is plain water to rinse afterwards.
So you can make apple juice, just
Yeah, to begin with, it's just apple juice.
And then what would you do with it from there?
Well, I use the cider yeast in it.
Yes.
You can just use it to use the natural yeast that's on the skin of the apples if you want. But I'd rather have the proper cider yeast rather than risk it going off.
Yeah, I did film one, oh, I don't know, last year, this time last year, I forget what it was now. But it was apple pressing day, and it was just apple juice.
Yep.
They were making. So what's the procedure for the cider? It's just a cider yeast?
Yeah, you just add the cider yeast.
And what would you have to leave that for time-wise, you know?
Well, the tradition...
To create the alcohol?
It depends on the temperature, because the yeast work better at a certain temperature.
Yeah, I can't go that side.
So yeah, the yeast would like to work between 16 and 20 degrees. But this time of year, the old wives' tales say you leave your cider until 12th night on the 6th of January.
Oh, really?
Which coincides with wassailing. That's when your first
oh,
batch
yeah, that's coming up that time of year, isn't it? Yeah.
That's when your first thing is ready for drinking. Get your Morris men in and they dance around the tree and whack it and scare off the evil spirits or something. Right, I'm going to start this up.
Yeah, fine, that's okay,
that right?
yeah. It's not the wife's one, is it? That's just for that job.
That's the one we got as a wedding present 30 years ago.
Oh, really? So it's had its time then?
Yeah. Yeah, so this is what it's now reduced to.
Yeah. You're going to get a bucket full before you do a pressing?
Yeah, I need to get it sort of like
to the top, yeah.
About there.
So about 20 minutes, I'll come back and...
I don't know. These are like cookers, and they're quite hard. They're taking longer than just eaters.
And you could use eating apple and crab apples, or would that not mix?
You use a complete variety. The wider the variety of apple, allegedly the better your cider.
Is that right? Yeah. We did a film on Mike's channel, TA Outdoors. We'll be building much in there. This is rusted out. And you can see the charcoal burners would usually operate from this luxurious accommodation, sleeping on the ground, because they couldn't afford not to keep that burning, because if it went out it's not good, and if it caught light it would not good. The trouble is, people, if I don't come around filming all these bits and pieces, once they're gone forever. And if you come to these shows, rather than one man with an old vintage car, there's 50 different vintage cars all in one spot to film in one go, which as a photographer is pretty handy. No idea where I'm going, probably a totally banned zone or something like that. Well, thanks for watching yet another mishmash of midweek special films from Graeme. And I've got a load more to come as well. And probably trickle them up. Now the nights are coming in an hour earlier, we will be having more time to sit down and watch stuff like that. So hit that subscribe button. Thanks for watching TA Fishing and TA Outdoors. Check out my channel, see what's going on there. And hopefully we'll see you 48 hours on a Friday one. Might be something different too. Keep a lookout for it.